are a real estate brokerage, advisory, and consulting company focused on best-in-class food and beverage in major metro markets nationally. We have both a landlord and a tenant division. I developed Brand Urban to launch a platform that focused on real estate strategy first and foremost before diving in to the brokerage and the deal-making side of the business. I found that was a huge hole in the market, particularly when working with growth stage restaurant groups, whether you were gearing up towards a capital raise, whether you've just taken in a capital raise. And what I geek out on and what I love is taking a deep dive into my clients and our clients, taking a deep dive into our client's brand, their business, their core customer, and what their goals are, and then developing the real estate strategy from there. What we like to do is develop what I call key decision-making metrics that we can align on with the stakeholders of the company on what's important to the brand and the business as it relates to the real estate deal, the actual real estate deal itself. Is there ample cash or tenant allowance from a landlord? Are we working with a strong landlord partner? We like to start macro and move micro. When we look at real estate and people ask us, oh, what markets are you experts in? It's really not about the market, it's about the submarket. And we call the submarket in our real estate jargon, the trade area. Being in New York City or Chicago or being an expert in Miami, it's about being an expert in Brickell, which is a submarket of Miami. But then it's the position within the trade area. Is it a tier 1 market for us because we're targeting what we call a live, work, play customer, a fair amount of corporate trade, tourist trade, residential trade. So if we're looking at real estate with quality branded in Scottsdale or Boston, we might be interested in a certain trade area, but never consider the type of decisions we would make in New York in another market where our brand is not known, where perhaps we're outpositioned by other competitors that are doing something similar to what we are doing. When we look at real estate and we're ranking a location, it might be the perfect neighborhood, but the location that we're looking at is perhaps outpositioned by 2 other local beloved brands. One of the things that I find most interesting today is how we talk about, how we think about, and how we view competition. We look at competitors. We look at what we call like-minded restaurant brands. Embarked on our growth plans, we were looking at Sweetgreen as a strong comp for Maman. We now know Sweetgreen is not a strong comp for Maman, even though they cater to a similar customer. They have a relatively similar price point, but customers interact and behave differently with Sweetgreen than they do Maman. Really understand the brands we work with and how the customers interact with those brands. Not just about, should I do this deal in Columbus Circle versus Flatiron? It's also key considerations about new market entry. And then we layer in the non-real estate stuff, the brand and the operational components, and we create like a real decision-making matrix. And I also believe restaurant operators are being far more disciplined in their decision-making in a post-COVID world, and they're not willing to take B space, meaning they're waiting for the A locations. But what I find most interesting is because there's such little strong product available, and really that's when you're walking on the street, you're like, there's so much available real estate. You're right, there is, but that's not the good real estate that people want. Restaurants that were asking for 6 months pre-COVID to build are asking for 12. Smaller landlords that were not giving cash at all to a tenant to build are now giving some cash. Yeah, ask for it all.